we're doing Ashling's top 10 GAA moments of the summer, because there is a heavy dollop of bias, which we'll get to in just a moment, over the course of these top 10. But you've been on the road, obviously, for Off the Ball over the last few months. What inspired you to do this, or what's making up this list? What's informing the criteria for this?
Yeah, so it's top 10 reporting moments for myself. So just for people that are wondering, it mightn't be the best game of football or hurling or camogie that we've seen. Mm-hmm. It might be more personal to me in terms
just
of
the best Meath moments.
Yeah. Did you say Meath moments?
Meath moments, yeah.
Oh, okay, no, not at all. You'll see there's a surprise in there.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe the best interviews, the best players that I got access to, managers, sort of all that type of thing, as well as the games do feature in it too. But yeah, it won't be always on the best display or the best result. It might be more behind the scenes of reporting.
Sounds good. Right, we'll start at number 10.
Yes, number 10 are the Kilkenny, the All-Ireland Senior Camogie champions. For me, I picked Kilkenny as number 10 because I feel that they have a great story this year. They'd lost a lot of girls, almost rode off at the start of the year because they had lost so many of their experienced players due to travelling, injuries, retirements, and they went on and won the All-Ireland. They're a real likeable bunch. The likes of their manager, Brian Dowling, such a passionate hurling camogie man, and you know he spoke to me a few times after the games, and the way he speaks about the girls, and that he was sitting up in the stands watching them lose All-Irelands, and you know he watched on and said, you know, actually I want to go in there and I want to make a difference. And yeah, it's just a really great story. And yeah, they're a brilliant team, brilliant final against Cork. And yeah, they were number 10 on my list because I think they're very worthy champions.
Absolutely, and that whole managerial ticket and some of the stuff they've had to go through this year as well has just been a brilliant element to that story as well. That just to see them get over the line at the end and to see them get some joy at the end of a tough year for a lot of them was fantastic. So that's number 10. Number 9 is an interesting one.
Yeah, number 9 is interviewing Pádraig Joyce throughout the year. For me, it's probably more of a personal one. He was definitely, if I had two people that I looked up to in football, it would have been him and Kerry MacDonald from Mayo. So getting to interview Pádraig Joyce was one of those moments as a reporter, which you're shaking. You know, you're going up with your mic shaking. I don't know if you've had these moments on, but definitely he was one of them for me, and I ended up telling him that when I met him at the press event ahead of the All-Ireland final. He's probably not meant to do these things as a reporter, but I did. And yeah, he's just been such a lovely man to deal with. And even at the press event, you know, he gives me so much time every time that I went to speak to him. And even at the All-Ireland final, I actually missed the chance to interview him after the game. He just lost to Kerry, you know, a few questionable decisions as well in the game. I'm sure you'll agree, Owen. And yeah, so I'd missed the chance. I was actually interviewing Jack at that time, Jack O'Connor, and he walked by and I thought, oh no, there's my chance gone. And he went off into the dressing room to speak to the lads, and I had spoke to Paul, the PRO, and he said, oh yeah, just hold on. He'd went in and like he sort of met his family and friends, you know, in the bar in Croke Park, and he came back out and pulled me around the corner, where's quieter, and was like, no, brilliant. Go ahead, Ashton. I didn't realise that. And I said, such a... Because
he doesn't have to do that.
He does not have to do that, and he was with his family, his young kids at the time. I felt almost, you know, this is a very tough thing to do when you see a manager who's really hurting after an All-Ireland final. And yeah, he gave me his time and we spoke for maybe 5-6 minutes. And yeah, he's just been so gracious all year, and one of my highlights definitely of the year.
And I'm sure everybody in Galway will be hoping that he gets ratified once again for next year. That seems to be one of the things that is left hanging out there at the moment, but I'm sure it'll be confirmed soon. Number 8 then.
Number 8 are, Limerick are the All-Ireland champions. We're going to go back to that in a minute as a whole, but this one in particular is about the Winners' Hotel. So I went to the Winners' Hotel the morning after the All-Ireland, which was Limerick. It was in the Burlington, I think it's the Clayton Hotel now in Dublin. Didn't know what to expect. I know it's something that Off the Ball have done many times, but I didn't know what to expect from it. And you know, they said we'll try get some of the team on air for 7:30, 8 o'clock, and I thought to myself, no chance. Who was going to be up at that time after winning All-Ireland? And it was just a great buzz around the lobby in the hotel, and a lot of the lads were about. I know we got Will O'Donoghue, Nicky Quaid, Dermot Burns and Dan Morrissey were on the show. Brilliant, real likeable team, I think, this Limerick team. Really good with their time. And then I spoke with John Kiley as well. He's another manager. Him and Pádraig Joyce would be my top two managers in terms of how nice they are with their time, and I sort of taken back by it. John Kiley, like, it's no surprise the Limerick team are so likeable when they have a leader like him. Like, he's such a great manager, and he speaks about the players first and foremost, about them as people. And he talked to me about wanting to get them jobs and looking after them and all of that side of things. And then we talk about the hurling, and yeah, he's just a lovely man. I spoke to him outside the hotel that morning, and it's probably an interview that I really enjoy doing. And I've watched back. I don't like to sometimes watch back some of the interviews I do, but I really enjoy listening to John, because he's mesmerised as he speaks about hurling and how he does it and what the players mean. And yeah, just meeting him and all the lads that morning was a great reporting moment.
Brilliant. Number 7 then is one of the controversial moments of the summer.
Yes, Brian Cody on the handshake with Henry Shefflin. There was 2 handshakes. This one in particular was the Leinster final, when Kilkenny came out on top that day, and we were all watching on. Would they shake hands? Would they not? And they did in the end, when Henry Shefflin beelined over towards Brian Cody. It didn't look like Brian was heading his direction at that point. And I put it as my 7th moment, because afterwards I asked him about it. So I get a one-on-one with him if I'm lucky. And it's just in the media area, beside the dressing rooms. And yeah, I just managed to grab him and I just went for it. And yeah, sometimes as a reporter, it can be hard to ask those type of questions. Yes, it's the job, you have to do it. Some people were saying, leave it there. You don't need to be asking those type of things. Talk about the game. We had to ask.
So there was journalists saying that?
Some journalists, some people on Twitter were calling me out, saying, talk about the game. We're talking about this moment. This shouldn't be what we're talking about. Like, would you go away? Like, this is a massive moment. I had to ask, and he just said, it's about the players, and I don't want it to be all about me. And he blew it off as if it was nothing. And I think Henry did similar when he sort of was asked about it previously as well. But yeah, that was my 7th moment.
So 6 is the All-Ireland hurling final, and 5 is the football final. Just a quick one here. Why did you pick the football over the hurling?
Yeah, and I went back and forth, and I sort of wrote out a list, to be honest, Owen, on why I was picking one over the other. And my reasoning was maybe because I thought that even though Kilkenny were never out of the game, they always looked like they could not they couldn't go on and win it, because I suppose that when I was sitting watching it, I did say to myself, they never looked like they were fully going to push it on and beat Limerick. It always looked like, in my head, I felt like Limerick will push on here. Every time they got a goal or a score, it was always Limerick went up the field and did one better. So for me, watching at the football, I think just the scores were unbelievable. Shane Walsh, unbelievable. Some of the best scores we've probably ever seen in an All-Ireland final. So yeah, I think it was that for me. The atmosphere, the tension going into the game. With Kilkenny and Limerick, there was a bit more that Limerick gonna walk this type of thing. But yeah, it was back and forth. I can't even say, because the scores in the hurling were just as good too. But for me, I think I just preferred the football. I don't think I explained that well, but yeah, it was a tough one.
Yeah, Shane Walsh is the reason why.
No, definitely not. No. There was many reasons.
Number 4 is a great one.
Number 4. What is number 4? It is, Kerry's Louise Galvin. This was one of my moments of the reporting this year for sure. And the way the interview came about is probably the most interesting bit. So they played in the first semi-final of the day. Meath were on after that against Donegal, and it was Kerry against Mayo, and I had to get back up to the press box to do the second game, and I was rushing at that point. I was to be on air, so I knew I only had a certain amount of time. And I was speaking with Declan, the Kerry manager, and he said, that Louise was inside. This was during an interview that she was inside, and she was feeding the baby at that point, her son. And I just thought to myself, okay, it'd be amazing. I knew her story, and I said it'd be amazing to be able to get an interview with Louise. And yeah, they said she'd be out in 10 minutes, and then it was 20 minutes, and I knew I had to get back up to get on air. But I was like, this story has to be worth it. I know it would be. It'd be amazing to do it. And I was on air with John, and I was like, I didn't want to let John down, but I was like, 20 minutes gone. I was like, oh no, she's never coming out. And then she came out with her little boy in her arms, and it was amazing. And she just spoke about how she was feeding him, breastfeeding him in the changing rooms. She wasn't sure if he was the first baby to be breastfed in Croke Park changing rooms, and it was just a real moment, I think, for a lot of women in sport, that we sort of all just went, whoa, this is possible. Like, you know, you can go on and have a family and you can still play at an elite level. And there was so many people that shared it afterwards. I got so much from it and how inspiring she was. And, you know, I think many people will see a hell of a lot more of that now, that it will be so normalised, breastfeeding in general, but as a woman to go on, as a mother, to be able to play at that level.
263,000 views on Twitter alone for that
Wow.
clip, so not bad. Number 3.
Number 3 is the Kerry versus Dublin All-Ireland semi-final. So this actually trumped the final. What are you laughing at, Owen?
Sound effects.
Yeah. I don't know if they can hear these, but yeah, something else going on in their ears here. So number 3 was Kerry versus Dublin, the All-Ireland semi-final. I was alongside Paddy Andrews and James O'Donoghue. I think the lads probably made it as well. Obviously, everything about the day, the lead up to it, there was no Con O'Callaghan. That was all the talk going into the game. Then we thought, okay, this is Kerry's for the taking for sure, because they don't have Con. And that was not the case whatsoever. It went right down to the wire. Of course, we all know now at this stage, the 45 metres out into a tricky wind, into the hill. Sean O'Shea steps up at the last kick of the game to put Kerry ahead and into the final. And I think it was such a big moment for Kerry. I felt there was going to be serious questions asked of Kerry if they couldn't get over that. So much pressure, and you could feel it. And then for me personally, just being there watching on alongside the lads, like I remember when the team went behind the band and they were going around the field, like the hairs on the back of your neck, it felt like the final.
So yeah, it was hell of an atmosphere there.
Yeah, it felt like the All-Ireland final. And I remember just looking to the lads and going, like, no one said anything. We just all looked and was like, whoa, you know, that sort of acknowledgement of, geez, this is a serious atmosphere. Brilliant game. And yeah, that was one of my moments of the year.
Yeah, not a bad day out. The second in your list then is Ulster final day.
Yeah, sound effect again. Second is the Ulster final day, and I actually was back and forth of where I was going to put this, but I had to think about it from my own, like, for a reporting point of view, the access that I got that day, and then just the day as a whole. I think that everybody should experience an Ulster final. Have you ever been to one, Owen?
No, I have been to Clonus, but not for an Ulster final day.
Yeah, Clonus, first off, amazing. Like the buzz, everyone out around the bars, out around the street, the colour. Then you go down towards the stadium, and just the colour from Derry, obviously first time in 24 years that they won the title. It was scenes. That is the only way of describing it. Absolute scenes. And it reminded me of years ago when you seen All-Ireland finals in Croke Park and everybody was allowed on the pitch and you'd invade the pitch and all the flags and all the colour. That was what it was like for this Ulster final. The game itself, I know a lot of people have different opinions on it. You know, a lot of people said it wasn't the best game of football and all of that. But for me, being there, I was on the edge of my seat the whole way through. Went to extra time that day and it was just 2 points in the end that Derry got over the line. Chrissy McKay lifting the cup was just iconic, someone that has been there for so long with them. And then for me, then as a reporting point of view, and really why, and another strong reason why I would have put it as my second today is because, you know, when they all the players and management were all on the pitch afterwards, all the fans, we were allowed in with them, in just like they put up barriers just around, like say, as they're going up to get the trophy, and you got access to the players there right in the raw emotion of it all. And Conor Glass spoke to me and he spoke about there was one man that was up there when he lifted the cup for the under-21s, and that, you know, he was going to be a proud Derry man watching down them today, and that was Martin McGuinness. And I just thought that was a brilliant moment as well. And I think that was why it's my number 2.
Yeah, they were definitely one of the stories of the football summer. There appears to be a typo on this list that Sean O'Shea's kick isn't at number 1, but what is the number 1 in your opinion?
No typo there. Yes. Absolutely. So it's me doing back-to-back All-Ireland senior titles. It was incredible to see them do it. I think obviously I'm from Meath. I'm maybe could be a little bit biased, but I think a lot of people will agree that this is one of the best sporting stories that we will hear in GAA. I really do believe that, men or women. It's incredible what they have done. They started out with this crop of players really coming together in 2017. A few tough years. They really regrouped and built on their success, and going from losing 2 intermediate All-Ireland finals to finally getting over the line, winning that intermediate final, then to push on and back it up at senior level and to win Division 3, Division 2, Division 1 as well is just incredible. And it's been brilliant to watch, and I think they've really put women's football on the map as well. Like, I know it was in recent years, we're hearing a hell of a lot more about it, and you know, that's brilliant to see. But you know, there's people saying to me, no matter where I go and I say I'm from Meath, they say, geez, the women are some team. Joy to watch, the type of football they play. You know, and of course I mentioned Emma Duggan, Vicky Wall, Emma Troy, like unbelievable players as well. So exciting. You don't know what they're going to do. You know, every game goes right to the wire, and they put on their best performance in that All-Ireland final. They backed up why they were champions last year. It was absolutely no fluke. And I think it was something that the women's game really needed. I think we talked about it maybe when they won the first senior title last year, that, you know, the finals previous to that maybe hadn't reached the expectation that we wanted them to, and there was so many people tuned in, 50,000 people tuned in, and you're like, oh, you wanted that big final, big performance. And I think in the last 2 finals they've been unbelievable performances, really exciting. And yeah, Meath have been a massive story, not only because I'm from Meath, but I think just in sport as a whole, what they've done is so inspirational. No matter what you do, whether it's in sport or not, they'll inspire you.
Yeah, for sure. It's been incredible, and just a level of emotion as well this year as well, which kind of brought it a level above. Great list, Aisling. Thanks very much. Not bitter at all about Shawnee not being on top, but I think you made a pretty good case for me there, to say the least.